We have leadership that is supporting entrepreneurship since 1975.
What's still missing? What should be done?
I always wanted to do something easy for the founders.
You are Bitcoin defenders.
Bitcoin is for the people, not for the governments. And let me tell you, that's where the fun begins.
We shouldn't be afraid.
If anybody were to listen to me, I would recommend a couple of things.
Good morning, everyone. So, few legal professionals have shaped the UAE Web3 ecosystem as direct as Irina Heaver. Seasoned crypto lawyer, managing partner at NeosLegal. She had advised over 200 global and local projects in the crypto space. So we're sitting down with her after the launch of the founder guide to UAE Crypto Laws, first of its kind, online, updated always, guide founders to understand more where to set up, how to set up, who are the regulators, and so on and so forth. So hello, Irina.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
So let's begin. Today I was reading the news, and it was the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, saying that crypto is clearly becoming mainstream. So maybe he's coming too late, and called for stablecoin legislation globally, and maybe more harmonization over stablecoin. So how do you assess the regulatory shift happening in the US?
Don't even know what's happening in the US. I have zero interest what's happening in the US. I've been in the UAE for 18 years. My ambition in life is to relocate as many multi-billion-dollar projects into the UAE as possible. We have the most business-friendly environment, and business-friendly doesn't mean that we have regulators who regulate crypto. Business-friendly means you can move here, you can get residency permits, you can rent a house, you can buy a car, you can send your kids to a great school. There's a fantastic airport that can take you anywhere within 6 hours. This is what business-friendly is. The infrastructure is amazing. We have the fastest internet, the largest penetration of mobile devices in the world. Everybody is 100% literate, and we have a leadership that actually wants you to be here. We have leadership that wants you to do business here. We have leadership that supports entrepreneurship, whether it's crypto entrepreneurship or if you want to open a bakery, there is support for you. So UAE is so business friendly, and now we have multiple virtual asset regulators, and there is always a regime that you can find for your business model. So who cares what's happening in the US or what's happening in Uganda, for that matter? I don't even know. I don't even spend 1 minute thinking about it. I'm too busy growing the UAE economy.
I agree. The reason is with more clarity happening in the US, it seems that we need more clarity, or more to be more aggressive to sustain and maintain the leadership of the UAE whenever it comes to the Web3 industry.
I agree. Right now, UAE is probably #1 crypto hub in the world, and there are other jurisdictions coming in saying, we want to be the biggest and the largest, and we're going to be huge, right? That's the new administration of the US is saying that. But today they have one president who is supporting this type of industry. Tomorrow we might have a different administration, and we'll have another war on crypto. So I don't even consider US as a risk to us, because first of all, they have no regulations. First of all, Gary Gensler left, I don't know what, 2 minutes ago, right? When they were hunting every crypto founder they can find, when they declared code illegal. Code software was put on the sanctions list. Just the ridiculousness of that. I have no words for it, right? So, and then you see what's happening here. We have leadership that is supporting entrepreneurship since 1975. That's when they started building the Java free zone, with the idea for the business people and for the traders to come. Since 1975, the policy has not changed, supporting entrepreneurship. So imagine you're a founder. Where would you want to be? Somewhere where there is a political whim one day, and then there is a political wind another day? Or do you want to be in a jurisdiction which always supports entrepreneurship? we might not always agree with how the entrepreneurship is supported. We might not always agree how certain policies are being rolled out or implemented, but nobody can argue with the fact that Dubai is open for business. UAE is open for business. I don't think anybody would argue with that.
You are splitting your life between Dubai and Switzerland, and there is as well at the beginning when we start talking about MiCA and what's happening in the European Union, and then we even went into a heated discussion, me and you, over WhatsApp, if I remember, about the regulation and the benchmark on MiCA. So looking into what's happening in the UAE now and where we are now and what is in Europe, so how do you differentiate UAE?
Europe is a lost cause.
This is sad to say.
It's very sad. The warmongers in Europe are more interested to continue the policy of destroying their people and destroying their economy. Look what has happened with Germany. I do spend some time in Switzerland. My family is there, and I work here in the UAE. So I'm lucky, privileged, and blessed to have two homes in such wonderful countries. And thank God Switzerland is not European Union, because every time I cross the border into Germany or into France, I am scared for my life. You know, I have this watch I bought, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago. I would never wear it in Germany, not because they will try to steal it from me, but they would hit me on the head while trying to steal it from me, right? So this is how scary and dangerous Europe has become, and why horrendous policies and people are so brainwashed. The leftists in Europe are so brainwashed, and they really believe this is what is right for their nations. And only when you go outside and you can live in a country where you don't get robbed in the middle of the day, where you don't see people, you know, engaging in very antisocial behavior, you realize that Europe is actually a lost cause. So this is just a general statement about Europe. Talking about MiCA in particular, I think that is an absolutely lost opportunity for Europe to recover or have some sort of industry left. It's very disappointing what they've done with USDT, the largest stable coin in the world, the backbone and the blood of the Web3 industry had to exit Europe because of ridiculous requirements, such as having fully backed reserves in a European bank. It's like, seriously.
Weak banks.
It's just I have no words to even understand. So that's why I don't even consider. That's why I don't even spend 1 minute of my day thinking about this failed thing, which is Europe. I mean, the latest innovation. You just came back from France. Latest innovation is this bottle caps attached to a bottle. That's the only innovation that came out of Europe in the last I don't know how many years. And they're so anti-Trump. They're so anti-mask. And look, UAE leadership was there first in when the new administration came in, right? They pledged, what's the amount? 1.4 trillion. Yeah, UAE pledged 1.4 trillion to invest in the US economy, in the semiconductors, in the AI. I mean, how, that's just logical. And as opposed to Europe is just agitating and picking up
struggling
arguments with Trump, and it's just, I mean, it's very sad, and it's very, very sad to see this, and I'm very, very sad for European people. But you know what? There's always an option, right? You're not a tree. If you don't like somewhere, you can pick up and move to a jurisdiction that wants you, that allows you to do business, that has a very low taxation. What's the taxation rate in Sweden? Over 50%?
40-50%.
And every time you read the news, how young girls and young women get abused on the street, is that something that you want to pay, that your daughter or your granddaughter gets abused on the street by illegal immigrants? I mean, that's just ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. But it is what it is.
So I agree to some extent, not to everything, but now UAE is leading a global leader in the Web3 space, and as we started the conversation, so US is coming and coming fast.
Are they coming fast?
But still on executive orders.
They're
I
talking a
believe.
lot.
Yeah.
I'll see them coming fast when I'll see the regulations.
Yeah.
Again, being a lawyer, I'm a very simple person. Show me the regulations.
Show me the paper.
Show me the paper. Let me read it. Let me make my own judgment if they're coming fast or they're not coming at all, and then we can discuss it. Because
assuming they are coming fast, so how UAE can maintain its leadership in the digital asset space?
That's a very good question, because it's all great to be a leader, but it also it's important not to become arrogant or that we're number one and that's it. We don't. You have
need to defend
again.
that position.
And you need to defend that position every day, right? Yeah. And every day improve, because competition is coming from every angle. Even within the UAE, we have so much competition, right? We have economic free zones competing with each other, Emirates competing with each other for business, for your presence in that emirate. So I think UAE is going the right way. I know there's a lot of new initiatives coming out of the regulators. In Dubai specifically, like VARA is looking to innovate and do more things in the space, which is good. And I am privy to some confidential information that, and I was actually quite impressed the angle they're taking it. So I don't think the regulators or the leadership is sitting still, with their hands folded and not moving. I actually do have the knowledge that they are, which is fantastic. There's a lot of work going on. And also at the federal level, there's a lot of legislative initiatives happening to simplify things. Like, for example, 2-3 years ago, the 51% Emirati sponsorship got removed, so more and more business owners can establish businesses. Then there's Golden visa, for example, right? Because every 2 years we had to renew visas in the past. Now I'm on my second golden visa, actually. So we can stay here for a longer period of time. So there's a lot of initiatives. Also simplification and also modernization of family law. Women, for example, when it comes to local women, there's more rights given. When it comes to, for example, having a boyfriend and girlfriend, it's absolutely fine. Back in the day, it was really frowned upon, and even certain elements of that were illegal. That is absolutely fine now. Then in Europe, I always get asked, what about same-gender couples? Well, UAE is equal. Whether you're same-gender couple or different gender couple, you are not supposed to be, exposing your relationship outside in front of other people. Just keep it private. As long as you keep it private, nobody touches you, nobody bothers you. I mean, I'm very pleased that UAE has none of this 27 genders and 57 issues. So there's a lot of modernization happening, and so in the business and also in the private space. So I don't think UAE is keeping still. However, there's still a lot to do. It's not the time to relax. It's time to maybe even go.
So in the Web3 space, where do you think what's still missing, and what should be done to just maintain this leadership?
So I think
setting up... So you are a Bitcoiner, you are a Bitcoin defender. So let me start with something like the Bitcoin reserve plan US is planning. So do you see UAE doing something similar?
I'm pretty sure they already are doing something similar. And to be honest, I'm more care that you personally building your Bitcoin reserve. I'm more care that people who are listening to us now building their Bitcoin reserve than a rich country is building their Bitcoin reserve. I mean, good for them. Fantastic. Good for their people, for the Emirati people. But I'm more concerned about, an individual knowing what Bitcoin is and learning about Bitcoin than at a government level. I'm not LARPing at governments building their Bitcoin reserves. Bitcoin is for the people, not for the governments. I'm one of those old school Bitcoin maxis. So when people were standing and applauding Trump for talking about Bitcoin reserve, okay, fine, that's great, but that's not what Bitcoin is for. Bitcoin is not for governments to hold in their treasuries, but Good, more adoption. But specifically with the UAE, for example, if anybody were to listen to me, I would recommend a couple of things. One of the things is to reduce the cost of incorporation. It costs 100 British pounds to set up a company in the UK. Why is it costing here $5,000? It's a little bit too much. So reduction in the cost of company incorporation, as well as visas, for example, that's also a little bit expensive. You know, my permanent residency card in Switzerland was 60 Swiss francs. And here, how much do you pay for a visa? It's a little bit more than that. So the cost needs to come down so more people can come in and more people can establish themselves, that's for sure. And also there's a lot of offshore jurisdictions like Cayman and BVI are competing with the UAE because the cost of setting up a company in Cayman and BVI is much lower. So we can bring all that offshore work here because now we have taxes, right? Like if you're making above certain threshold, you need to pay taxes. So
Of the VAT?
we have VAT on goods and services. So it's more beneficial if more businesses are set up here rather than offshoring. So that would probably be, another thing that people complain a lot is that founders complain a lot, that it's very hard to understand 45 free zones that we have. It's very hard to understand the 5 regulators we have, who is in charge of what and who's doing that. But I just decided to solve that problem myself, and we wrote a founder's guide to UAE Crypto Laws.
This was going to be my second question on that. So there's, yes, some people would say that those free zones are complementing each other. Some would say they are competing with each other. Some would say that we're lost in the middle of where to go and what to do. And then you stepped in as a person, as a partner for a legal firm, and you've launched it a couple of days ago. So what motivates you the most to put this together and really spend this much time and energy on that?
I always wanted to do something easy for the founders, because every time I see an article prepared by lawyers describing a legal issue or describing, the differences between the free zones or explaining the regulatory framework, or even when me and my team write something, lawyers are quite difficult to comprehend, right? We put in so much jargon, and when we write, we always think, oh, our legal colleagues will be reading it, so we need to make it as, need to make ourselves sound as intelligent as possible, right? Because you don't want to sort of your colleagues, other lawyers judging you. So, and there was nothing for the founders. There's nothing for the founders. I started writing in Forbes International, especially with the idea to let the international community know more what's happening in the UAE. And then I started writing in Cointelegraph, specifically for the founders, because founders are reading Cointelegraph. So I started describing in very, very, very simple terms, which free zone to go. What's the difference between the regulator and a free zone? Because people think free zone is a regulator. People ask me, I want to get a license from, I want to get a crypto license from DMCC Crypto Center. And then you need to explain, yes, it's a authority where you establish a company. And then if you're a regulated activity, then you need to go to certain regulator, right? And last year we held multiple legal clinics. What is a legal clinic? You come to a lawyer and you ask all sorts of questions, and the lawyer answers for free, helps you with your legal issues. So this is what the legal clinic is. And we held legal clinics with Solana Foundation, with Cardano Foundation, with Future Blockchain Summit, with DMCC Crypto Center, and a few others. We spoke with more than 300 founders who came last year during this peak season, exploring the UAE, exploring UAE as a business destination, as a destination where to set up their companies and start their business. We spoke to over 300 founders, and the questions were always the same. And after talking to 300 people, I decided that maybe it's easier for us to actually write the book and make it very, very simple, really spell it out. We put a lot of pictures. We've put a lot of charts and the flow charts, start here and end up here, and wrote in a super simple language. Did not use
legal terms.
We had to use some legal terms, of course, but we tried to use as simple language as possible. We, of course, referred to the law, because if you want to deeper, you can open that law. We put in the links to everything. We put in templates. If you want to have an advisor on your board, we put in a template for an advisory contract. If you need to have a labor contract for your visa, we put in all sorts of templates. So you can just basically whatever.
So it's a one-stop shop to just guide you to navigate into all this.
Absolutely. So if you even comprehend 20% of that, you would be more than equipped to run your business in the UAE.
Did you cover the stablecoin as a topic?
Stablecoin is a very particular topic. We discussed the recent regulations of the central bank. We discussed the remit of the central bank and what central bank is regulating and how stablecoins are regulated. And it's a very specific topic. It's not for an average founder, because if you're looking to launch a stablecoin, you're already more advanced than 99.9% of the founders.
Two topics actually are taking UAE by storm lately. So the stablecoin as one, the tokenization is second. So real world asset tokenization is becoming mainstream. So VARA licensed couple of companies. Real estate developers are stepping in, Dubai Land Department as well. So how do you foresee the tokenization as coming into the digital asset space, and what is the future of it?
Well, in 2017, World Economic Forum said that everything will be tokenized and traded on blockchain within the next 5 years. Did that happen? No. STOs died a peaceful death, and now we have the rebirth of that real-world asset tokenization. What is a real-world asset? It can be anything, right? Starting from a car that you're driving and finishing with some sort of money markets, right? Or stablecoin that is giving you return, some sort of interest. So everything is a real-world asset, and real-world asset is a narrative that is currently being used in the market. That's for sure. It's a really big narrative, and a lot of investors are interested in supporting projects that are looking to tokenize. Yes, there are a couple of projects that got some sort of license that will allow them to facilitate real-world asset tokenization as well as secondary trading in the UAE, but I'm yet to see. Show me a platform I can register and trade real-world assets, and then we can talk. I'm a very simple person. I want to see what's available, but currently there's nothing available. There are a couple of sandboxes here and some trials there, which is fantastic. I'm all supportive of experimenting, but just like STOs died a peaceful death because there were no secondary trading options, I have a question about RWA. Where would the liquidity come from? Okay, let's say...
Who's the market maker?
Market maker, sure, that is another issue, but who's going to buy it? Where's the liquidity coming from? Because if you're sitting there and because you know how market making works in crypto, right? You place buy orders, you place sell orders, and then you place buy orders higher, right? You're your own market maker. That is called wash trading, and hopefully that will be illegal one day. Not yet, unfortunately. So where's the liquidity coming from for real world assets? Is the idea that things will be digitized a valid idea? Of course. Everything is digitized. Your passport is digitized, right? When you go through the customs, they scan your face, it's digitized. So everything is digitized and probably should be digitized. It takes so long to settle when you're having shared transactions. I was... in my prior life, I was working for the largest oil and gas companies, and we had issues where we had to delist. We were trading on 2 exchanges, and we had to delist. We literally did not know who our shareholders were because the documentation is just kept in such an archaic way, and the records were so archaic. So is digitizing shares a good idea? Of course, digitalization is good. Either way you look at it, but I don't think that people who are promoting RWA tokenization understood the whole process and all of the challenges, and I don't think they were around the STO phases, where the STO times when we incurred so many hurdles that we just could not proceed. But maybe this time is different, and I'm very happy to be around to witness that.
We shouldn't be afraid that you will be able to update your guide on the go. So the guide is you created the concept of the guide is smart, where you can always keep on adding and updating based on the changes in the regulation. So whenever it comes, whenever you're convinced that RWAs are something
Whenever I
to,
see it with
yeah.
my own eyes and can trade myself, I will be more than happy to talk about that. But at the moment, it's a good exploratory phase. So let founders do what they do best: innovate.
So how people can find this guide, and is it already live?
By the time this video will be out, it will be live. So you can find the guide on our website. It's very easy to find, or on my website, irinaheaver.com, or which is my personal website, where I keep the links to my social media because there's so many impersonators. It's just ridiculous. And then, of course, NeosLegal.co. That's where the guide is. It can be opened, it can be downloaded, it can be viewed.
It's a free guide?
It's absolutely free for all the founders. Absolutely. Of course.
So how many contributors you had to this, or it is all NeosLegal?
So we had a couple of regulators who contributed with their expert opinion and the insider knowledge. We also had a couple of VCs that contributed with their expert knowledge. For example, Juliet Su from New Tribe Capital wrote a fantastic piece, How to Raise Money in the Middle East. Because people come here from all over the world, right? But you need to understand we have a certain culture, we have a certain way of doing business. There's certain relationships you need to build before you ask people for money, right? So she wrote this wonderful 7-step guide, literally taking you by hand how to raise money. Then other contributor, Talal, who is the CEO of CoinMina, a fantastic entrepreneur. He's been in the space for so long, I lost track. So he talked about post-regulatory compliance, because everybody's super excited to get a VARA license or another regulatory license, but nobody's thinking about what happens after. And let me tell you, that's where the fun begins. Getting a license is literally flowers. The berries will come after you have the license and you have to operate it.
The cost.
And the cost, and their weekly reporting, monthly reporting, quarterly reporting, and yearly reporting. No regulator in the world has such advanced reporting as VARA, Dubai's Virtual Assets Regulatory Authority. And for a good reason, right? We don't want a Luna collapse. We don't want an FTX collapse. They don't want that on their watch. And that's why the requirements are very strict. So we also were pleased to receive a lot of contribution from and support from ADGM, which is a financial free zone in Abu Dhabi, and also the MCC Crypto Center. Ahmed bin Sulayem was wonderful. He wrote forward for the book, encouraging the entrepreneurs to come and set up in the UAE and explore UAE as a business destination.
So it is a must-have guide for founders. So thank you for your time, Irina.
Thank you so much.